Hey friends, it's Chris. Nice to see your smiling faces. Well, I guess I can't see them, but we'll just pretend that we're talking to each other. It's all cool. And we're here to compare these two lenses. They're two of my favorites, especially for wedding photography, especially for portraits. So one thing I want to say is these two lenses are actually very similar in a lot of ways. If you're comparing them on cost, weight, size, focal length, I mean, you're really getting a very similar package, but there are some key differences that'll be very important. So regarding cost, if you were looking at upgrading to either of these lenses, they're very similar. Brand new, you can get the 70-200 for about $1,500, and brand new, you can get the 135mm for $1,400. So there's really not a huge difference there. Now, I primarily use both these lenses for wedding photography, as well as portraits for families, individuals, couples. So they both serve different purposes depending on what I'm doing. If I know that I'm only going to be taking photos, then honestly, I'm going to bring the 135 1.8 with me. Why? Because I have that option to go down all the way to 1.8 on the aperture, get some really nice blurred out backgrounds, especially in low light situations. Now, whether you're taking photos outdoors when it's getting darker, like when it's sunset or later, or if you're taking photos indoors, especially if you're doing weddings, this is going to apply a lot to the reception. You really want to have as much low light capability as possible. Even if you're using flashes, whether it's an on-camera speed light or an off-camera strobe, even still having that 1.8 aperture is super helpful to getting the best quality lighting that you can. Also, especially during a reception, it's going to help really isolate subjects and blur them out from the background against everybody else, making it a much more pleasing and professional looking photo, in my opinion. Now, one other thing I want to say about the Sigma 135 is that it is incredibly sharp. You could be at f1.8, really far away from somebody, get your autofocus right on them, and you're going to see the most crazy sharpness out of this lens. Especially to be able to do that 1.8 at its widest aperture is really impressive. What I can say about the 70-200 though, is that if you're going to be doing a mix of photography and videography, doing some little video clips here and there throughout the day, especially if it's going to be handheld, I would definitely recommend going with the 70-200. Sometimes when you're doing video, you start taking a clip and you don't really have a good chance to move, because if you start moving, then that clip's going to get all shaky and messed up. So what I love about this lens is that it has the optical steady shot built right in, and this pairs really well with the Sony bodies that also have image stabilization. They work well together. I can really say that having that image stabilization built into the lens is a lifesaver, especially when you're shooting video handheld, especially if you're really zoomed in all the way at 200mm. You really can start experiencing some shakiness without that stabilization. So I really appreciate having it. Obviously, a big point of having a zoom lens is the zoom. So that's a big plus as well. If you need to get a bit of a wider shot and zoom out to 70mm, you can do that. If you need to get really tight all of a sudden and get all the way into 200mm, you can do that as well. Now, wedding photographers are always all about their 70-200s. I know that. But to me personally, I feel like I'm very close to people throughout most of the day, whether it's during the getting ready or the first look, ceremony, reception. You're pretty much close enough that 135mm is enough to zoom in and get whatever you need. If you need to get a little bit closer, it's usually not hard enough to just step a little bit closer to your subject, or even if you have to crop in a little bit in post, it's not the end of the world. But honestly, this year, after shooting about 20 weddings, I brought my Sigma 135 to most of those weddings and didn't bring my 70-200, and didn't feel like I was missing out on not having that zoom capability. It felt like having that 135 is just my telephoto lens. That's what I need to use if I need to get a shot from far away, or if I really need to add some compression to the background. Obviously, this is different for everybody's situation. In my situation, doing weddings, I feel like I can use the 135, be close enough, especially if I'm only doing photos for the day. If I did need to do a mix of video and photos for a wedding day, I would absolutely bring my 70-200 just to have that zoom capability and the image stabilization. Another big perk about the 70-200 is that it comes with a tripod collar included. This is obviously super important if you're shooting any photos or videos that require a tripod. It's going to make it super easy to get your camera on and off, helps distribute the weight better so that there's less shakiness. So that's actually a big bonus of having this, where the 135 does not come with one of those, and I don't think there's even any options to get any, so you're kind of screwed if you wanted one. I hope that if you were considering buying one of these lenses, that this video really did help you out and was informative. If you want to see more videos on wedding photography, landscape photography, drones, Lightroom tutorials, a lot more stuff I'm going to try to get into this year and in the future, please subscribe, and please check out another video that I put up recently, and have a great day, guys. I was about to end the video, and then my cat came to join me. All right, have a good day, guys.